Hello and welcome back to another episode of Math with Sohn. Today we are going to be taking something, a quadratic, in standard form and turning it into vertex form. So let's get into it. So there are two ways to do this. The first way is by using your negative b over 2a formula, because if you need to put something into vertex form, what better way to do it than to find the vertex? And if we do that, we end up with negative 6 over 2 times 1 because the number in front is 1. And then from here, we would end up with 6 over 2, which of course is 6 divided by 2, which is 3. And then from there, you can take that x value and plug it back in. So that would be 3 squared minus 6 times 3 plus 1. And if you do all that math, you end up with 9 minus 18 plus 1, which is negative 8. And then once you get your vertex, you can change the sign, keep the sign, and put it into vertex form, and you can get your answer that way. So that is one of the ways to do it. The big thing you got to be on the lookout for is that this a is the same number in front as it was for your a in the negative b over 2a. So do not forget that a value. You can change the sign, you can keep the sign, you can get it in vertex form. Now, technically, that's cheating. Okay, so doing the negative b over 2a is technically cheating. And if we wanted to do it the correct way, what we would end up doing is we would take this y equals x squared minus 6x plus 1. You don't have to move the 1 over, but I kind of like to. So if we moved the 1 over, I would have to subtract the 1, and then I get x squared minus 6x. And what we're supposed to do, legally, mathematically speaking, is by completing the square. You would take half of the 6, which is 3, put it in parentheses squared, and then on the other side, you have to add that same 3 squared over. So if we did 1 and then plus 9, you end up with y plus 8, x minus 3 squared. And then you would just subtract the 8 over. And if we subtract the 8 over, you end up with this answer, which is the exact same thing that we had over here as well. So both have their merits. Negative b over 2a, you stick with your old faithful. Completing the square, you got to be pretty good at completing the square. So we're going to do one more. And on this other one, I'm going to show you how completing the square is sometimes harder. Here, I actually think completing the square is easier because you could just do half of 6, put it in parentheses squared, and then essentially just add 9 to negative 1 and you get your answer. But if you have a leading coefficient, let's say we had a leading coefficient of 3. Let's do negative 3. That's more fun. X squared plus 12x minus 5. So I'm going to use this one exclusively through negative b over 2a for at least the time being. That would be negative 12 over 2 times negative 3, which ends up being negative 12 over negative 6, or better known as 2. 12 divided by 6 is 2, so negative 12 divided by negative 6 is regular 2 as well. Plug in the 2. And then continue to get your answer. These will always be half of one another, so negative 12 and 24 makes 12. Minus 5 is 7. Yeah, 12 minus 5 is 7. Making sure. So now that you have your x and your y for your vertex, you could put it in vertex form. Change the sign. Keep the sign, so this 2 becomes negative 2. That 7 stays as positive 7. Do not forget the a in front. And we get our answer. Okay? Now completing the square on this one would work, but it would just be a little harder. So that's why I like this trick method, is by using negative b over 2a. It works. You can get your vertex, and if you have your vertex, you can always get vertex form. It's just transforming a function. So that's going to do it for this one. It was a little bit of a short one, but it's also like a very unique skill. Until next time, I will see y'all later. Stay positive, friends. Bye.